John, happy with that? A good start?
I think you look at. We were looking forward to our first home game. I think we said it all along. Our crowd was incredible. 5,000 people to come out. First home game, which was absolutely fantastic. And we felt that we played Limerick a couple of weeks ago, and to be fair to them, they beat us the Munster Senior Cup fair and square. But we felt on the day we didn't play as well as we could have. And I think right from the start tonight we were determined to put on a good performance. And look, at Martin has a huge job in Limerick. It's very difficult for him. His budget has been whipped all together, and he's bringing a lot of young players through. And to be fair to him, he's a good manager. He's working hard, but it is difficult for him. And I suppose when you look at overall, we would have expected to win. We were 2 up, played quite well early on, and obviously when the sending off came, then I think the game was over. But the pleasing thing for us, I suppose, is that look, at first time since I've been here, we've got 5 goals in the league, 5,000 spectators at the match, and 2 games gone, we have 4 points on the board, and we're happy with that.
And the ideal start, wasn't it? Sorry, the ideal start, like an early goal. And then to get another goal just on the stroke of half time, really kind of clinched it.
We spoke about it all week, that we felt that that we needed to start well, that there's going to be a big crowd. We needed to keep the tempo of the game high, and it was good to score the early goal. And but overall, I think there was patches of our play which was very good. And I think Liam Miller coming back, you can see that what he offers. He's very quick feet, keeps the game moving. Beautiful on the ball, loads of composure. And I felt that. Maybe for the first 25-30 minutes we were doing really well, and and I think even up front with Danny coming back in and Shepherd coming in, that they're great movement, they're great runs in behind, and it was overall it was pleasing. To be fair, I don't want to get carried away, because ultimately I think Limerick have a young side and they have a lot to do, and I think they're going to have a difficult season, and I suppose from a Cork point of view, the stronger Limerick are, the better, and hopefully they can probably get, hopefully they can hang in there and maybe get some players in the break. And but it's going to be difficult. So from that point of view, I think we'll have much tougher challenges.
Do you know it's unusual on a night when 2 fellas score twice that the man of the match award goes to a fella who didn't score? But can you understand why some of us were voting for Shepherd?
I can, because to be fair to Shepherd, he did everything but score. It was, not only did we have guys 2 goals. 2 apiece. We 2 brothers got 2 apiece, which is very unusual. But I think overall, you look at it, Shepherd was instrumental. He made the penalty. The first corner came off him. His movement was fantastic, and he gave us something different. And he did everything but score. And he knows himself, he probably had 3 or 4 chances. But the pleasing thing for me, I told him after the match, is that never be afraid to get in and miss. Good centre forwards, you miss chances, because all of a sudden one will go in for you and you're off. And there's no doubt once he keeps making those runs, getting into those positions, creating those chances, he's going to score, because he's a really good player. We can see it in training, and I think overall everyone could see that he had a fantastic game for us.
Gary Buckley, what's the story with him? He looked a bit dazed going off.
Yeah, Gary was sick. Got sick. He was sick this morning, and he thought he'd be okay, and he was dizzy early in the match, and he just wasn't okay. So it's one of those things that probably within the next 48 hours he'll be okay.
Did you have a moment where you feared the worst when Danny Morrissey crumpled under the
I did, because to be honest with you, I saw the challenge. Now, to be fair to Shane Duggan, he's a decent guy and he's an honest player, and I wouldn't say anything was malicious in it. We saw Danny's leg at half time. He just caught him a bit, but I think Danny panicked himself, maybe from the fact he's been out for so long. But I suppose a bit of magic water, and then all of a sudden he realised it wasn't as bad as it was. But I think the initial knock, he was concerned. But to be fair, I haven't seen it back on TV. I didn't see the time. It looked maybe a bit late from where I was. But to be fair to Shane Duggan, I wouldn't like to say anything, because we know him from being down here, and he's a decent guy, and that would be out of character for him.
It was a big night for Danny, wasn't it? Because I think we worked out his first start since the last game of 2013.
Yes.
So for him, in terms of confidence and everything else to come through, whatever length of time he was on.
Absolutely. And I suppose it was a call for us during the week. You know what I mean? That he'd really been training very hard over the last since pre-season, because he's anxious to make up for lost ground. And it was a hard call. Do you start him or don't you? But I just felt the occasion tonight, the type of game it might be for us, the fact that I felt that we might get a good lot of chances. I think it was a game that we decided, listen, we'll go and give him the run. And look, at the most important thing, he got 65-70 minutes under his belt, and he's not fully match fit, he's probably not fully sharp, but you can still see that, you know, he plays two over the crossbar, which, you know, which showed that he was in good positions. But you know, I just feel that he's very close to being fully match fit, and it's good for us that he is.
Ross Gaynor did well as well, didn't he?
Ross did good, yeah. I think, to be fair to Ross, it was a situation, you know, he didn't start in Sligo last week, you know. It was probably, I felt in Sligo last week, an emotional game for him, because he wanted to go back to Sligo and prove how good he was. And sometimes you have to look at, you know, mentally as a guy in the right condition, because in the sense that I knew Sligo was always going to be a very, very difficult game, and with the weather conditions. But to be fair to him, look, he got the equalisers last week, came in tonight. You know, Ross is a beautiful player, very intelligent player, beautiful on the ball, beautiful touch, great passing, and you know, as we said when he came into us halfway through last season, he was phenomenal. And again, you know, a pleasure of a person to have in your squad.
The flip side to having such a strong squad, John, is you end up having to make big calls, like leaving Dan Murray and Marco Sullivan out.
Yes.
How did the lads take that tonight?
Well, no one wants to be left out. No one ever wants to play every match, I'm sure. And, you know, your first game at home. But look at, as I keep saying, we'll achieve nothing unless, you know, unless we have a big squad and a strong squad, which we have. Yeah, there's difficult decisions to be made. To be fair to Dan, he hurt his groin during the week, and you know, he wanted to play, and we decided not to play him. Mark was a different scenario. So yeah, you make a few changes, and look at, I suppose that's going to be the nature of the season and the nature with all the games we have, that these things are going to happen. And you know, this, you know, I suppose ultimately at the end of the day, from my own point of view, you know, I only want to do the best for the club. I have to pick the teams I feel is right for the night, and personalities don't come into it. And that's, you know, that's, I suppose, look at, you know, that's my job really.
Is it a situation that you're trying to work out your best 11, or are you going to take it on a case by case basis for each game? What suits?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's a situation, you know, that you know, you feel tonight you're going to play Limerick. You feel you're going to get lots of chances. You feel you're going to, you know, cause them lots of problems. And but you know, the next most important match for us is away to Shamrock Rovers next Friday night. Totally different game, and you know, you won't be able to play as open, and you may not be able to attack as often, because, you know, it'll be a tougher, tighter game, and you know, you may change personnel around. So you know, I suppose the difference I feel is that it's one of those ones this year that, you know, you may not be playing your same 11 week in, week out as maybe you did last year. You need more options, and you know, thankfully at the moment I think we have it.
Is there a risk in that, John? Because the old school view was you settle on your best 11, and that breeds consistency, and everyone knows each other, and that whereas that can't happen if there's going to be changes. Yeah,
I suppose you're right. You're right, Liam. But I see this year in the league, I think last year's league was very, very competitive, and I think no matter, you know, you looked at Athlone took results off us, Bray took results off us. I think a lot of clubs have suffered from reducing their budgets, and I think you'll find there'll be different type of games this year. And I think probably when we look at Turner's Cross, I think a lot of teams will come down to Turner's Cross and try to be more defensive, and certainly try to play on the counter attack. And I think that's the reason it might lead to picking different type of teams. And you know, so that's why I think it'll be slightly different this year for us.
John, Gary Buckley went off, but Gavin came in and really stepped up.
Yeah, Gavin's a great guy, and probably lucky he didn't start. You know, Billy said to me earlier in the week I played a more position last week, and maybe I did. But the beauty is about Gavin is that, you know, he's a brilliant guy, but he still has a bit to learn, you know, and he recognises that, and like, he's come back from England. He ended up with a draw the last year, which is good for him, but they were part-time. He's now training full-time, and we're hoping the likes of Healy and Miller's experience rub off on him. And but to be fair to him, like, got a cracking goal, he has that, and he's a beautiful footballer. You can see by him, he just passes the ball at ease, and he keeps it moving. And, you know, I suppose it's great to have him, because he also can play the Gary Buckley role, and, you know, and he's came in, he slotted in straight away, so he gives us lots of options. And again, he's a real energetic type of fella, and up and down the pitch. And so probably was a little bit disappointed he probably didn't start, which is understandable, but you know, I think he came in and did great and got a fantastic goal.
Thanks so much. Happy with that being a good night?
Yeah, good night at the office. 3 points, clean sheet, good performance, so we can't really ask for any more, I suppose.
And happy with your 2 goals and laid on 2 as well for...
Yeah, delighted. You know, obviously creating chances is probably my main role, but always happy to chip in with a couple of goals as well. And you know, it's great to be able to set one up for Darren too, like, you know, another 2 great finishes by him, so it's a good night for the Dinnies.
What did you think when you stood up to the penalty, because he'd saved one in the last minute of extra time in the Munster Senior Cup?
Yeah, I was only thinking about that afterwards. I didn't realise that was he was playing for UCD last year, and I scored one at home here against UCD, and I went to the side that he saved it on last time. So I only realised that after, you know, I was looking at a bit of video footage and I realised that. So, you know, I said this time I went one to the left, one to the right, so this time I just passed down the middle. So thankfully it went in. And
the crowd tonight?
Unbelievable again. You know, it's when I found out I was suspended for the first game of the season, I was praying it wouldn't be a home game, you know, because I wanted to be available for the first home game of the season, and to play in front of that, as I said last year, it's the highlight of my week. You know, it's what I worked for all week, you know, to go out and enjoy playing in front of the crowd, and they were unbelievable again tonight, and thankfully we were able to give them a good performance as well.
You were Noel's man the match, so we let Noel
I know.
Find your son tomorrow.
I know, that's right.
What was your view of the sending off, Billy? Did you see it?
I was kind of behind Shane Duggan when he tackled, so at first I didn't think there was much in it, but you know, maybe unless you went down with these studs up, or I couldn't really see it from the angle of the actual tackle, so you know, I'll probably have to see it again on the TV, but you know, it obviously helped us, so I won't complain too much.
We were just saying to John there, it's unusual when a fella scores twice and 2 fellas scores twice that a fella who didn't score gets man of the match. But were you impressed with Shepherd? Because a lot of people looking on were.
Yeah, I mean, I've played with Sheppy for a couple of years up in Dublin, you know, and I know what he's capable of. You know, he can bring a lot to the team. He's got good legs, and as in he can run and stuff, you know. But he had a poor year last year. You know, he's quiet. He was kind of in our team up in Rovers, so you know he's got a point to prove this year. You know, and he played like that tonight. And you know, if every fella just kind of can push themselves that bit extra, you know, it's only good for the team.
It sets you up very well now for Shamrock Road next week. It should be a cracking game.
Yeah, looking forward to it. You know, I mean, it's the kind of way we kind of go about, you know, one game at a time. And we know when you come in tonight, a home game, we wanted to give the crowd, you know, a good performance and play well. And I think we played very well. So yeah, you're right. We can bring that into next week now.
And it's a tough league, isn't it? I mean, Drogheda beat Sligo tonight, 3-2 at home. So there's no easy games.
Yeah, you're dead right. You know, I think people last year probably started assuming, you know, that some games would be a handy game and they'd be handy 3 points. You know, it's not the case in this league. Anything can kind of happen on a match day if you don't approach it right. But you know, we didn't have a unbelievable attitude last year, and we did a great group of players, and you know, kind of all comes from the manager and Cots and stuff. And you know, this year we want to set out the same stall and be the same kind of team, and you know, give our best on the pitch, and that's all we can kind of do then.
Is the disappointment of last year, like right at the final night, is that gone now, or actually is that still sort of an incentive, you know, if you know what I mean, within the squad?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of changes kind of from last year as well, you know, so there's a lot of new lads in, so they probably won't understand it, but you know, last year was a massive breakthrough year for us. You know, I mean, the performances we put in and the levels that we got to, you know, I mean, the club hadn't been in Europe in, I don't know, 7-8 years. You know, so we've bridged a massive gap last year. You know, with a lot of hard work. You know, so hopefully it's just the first step, and you know, we can build this season now, and you know, we can keep driving on as a team, and hopefully keeping improving, and you know, hopefully that will keep us always challenging for trophies, which is where I think this club needs to be.
And getting a result in Tala is a big thing now, really, isn't it? Because you don't want a setback against Rovers this early in the season. I mean, there's a real pressure on to get a result there, isn't it?
I think from our side probably not. You know, from their side I think so. We beat them 3 times last year.
That's right.
And I think we scored a lot of goals against them. You know, so I think they're going to be afraid of us. I think any of those teams they realise what we can do, and you know, we just go up there with a normal game. You know, we won't approach them any different as we would to any other team, and you know, I'm sure we'll prepare well all week, and you know, hopefully we can go up there and have another good performance.
Given the strength of the squad, Billy, I mean, you look at the likes of Dan Murray and Marcus Sullivan on the bench tonight. Is there acceptance among the players that, you know, every so often you might have to sit one out?
Oh yeah, I you know, once the team's kind of getting results, then that's all that matters. I think to everybody, you know, it's a long season, and last year with all the cup games, kind of midweek games, we probably were a bit short. you know, in a bit of strength and depth in the squad, and you know, this year I think we have that, you know, that when there is a lot of midweek games, cup games coming, everyone's going to have to play their part, and you know, we've got a great bunch of lads, and I'm sure whenever anybody's put onto the pitch, they'll do their best and help the team to try and get the right result.